What is up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about the Tower of Fantasy closed beta and just my first impressions on it. So yeah, let's get to it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the character creation. Now, it's not the craziest thing ever, but it is actually a pretty detailed character creation that I think is actually pretty satisfying and pretty fun to use. I actually spent quite a while in that, just testing around and just seeing what I can do with it. I will say I do think you have more options with the female characters. I think they're a lot more fun to customize than the male characters. I don't think the male characters have as many hairstyles or hair options to choose from and stuff. But yeah, I do think the character creation is pretty fun to use. And I could easily see people putting a lot of time just into the character creation. Now, obviously, character creation isn't the only thing to the game. The fighting is a lot like a Genshin Impact. Now, the best way I can describe the fighting is imagine if Genshin was an MMO. That's kind of how it plays. It doesn't play exactly like a Genshin. I don't know if, I honestly don't know if what I'm about to say is going to make any sense, but if you've played an MMO, you might understand what I'm saying. Like, it just plays like Genshin, but as if Genshin were an MMO. It doesn't feel exactly like Genshin. It does feel a little bit different. If you were to play Genshin earlier in the day and get off, you used all your resin and you're just going to get off, you're going to go play Tower of Fantasy, it's not going to feel like the same game. Is kind of the point I'm trying to get across. It doesn't feel exactly like Genshin, but it is pretty similar. It's fun. I don't have all the weapons, obviously. It's just a closed beta, and you're not going to be able to summon all the weapons and be able to test everything out. But the weapons that I do have, I think are pretty fun to use. Now, one thing I did find really fun in the combat is that you have these abilities that you can switch your weapon, and then a special attack will queue in when you pull out the other weapon, because you have like a little charge up to it, and when it charges up you can just switch into that weapon, and it also, you pull it out and then it also has a special attack that happens, which I find really fun. And also, I've noticed, I don't know if it depends on the weapon you're using, I've noticed that if you dodge at the perfect time, your enemies freeze around you. I don't know if that's just how it is for every time you dodge, or if you have to be using a specific weapon, but I've noticed that every time I dodge at the perfect time, everything freezes around you for a certain amount of time. Also, from where I'm at, you can have up to 3 weapons equipped. You start out with a sword, and then I don't know if it's rigged on what you get later, but I have a spear, and then these like dual wielding daggers, and then they also give you a bow. I don't know if the spear and like the daggers are just rigged for you to get from the wishing system, or if that's just what I so happened to get. Either way, all the weapons are pretty fun to use. I would say the bow, in my opinion, is probably the least fun to use. That's just my opinion, though. But yeah, the combat is actually really fun. I know a lot of people are going to compare it to Genshin. I'm going to say it is very similar, but it's not the same exact thing. It's going to feel different when you're playing the game. Now, another thing that's similar to Genshin is gliding. Now, instead of gliders, I think that's what it's called in Genshin, you have a jetpack, and it basically works exactly like the gliders in Genshin Impact, except with the jetpack, you can actually launch yourself up in the air, and it has a few other features that you can use while you're using the jetpack. For example, you can jump up to get yourself more air. Now, another thing I want to talk about is you have a water glider, so I think that's pretty cool, because instead of having to like swim and stuff, you can just glide on that. If you have a far ways to go over water, it goes really fast, and you don't have to worry about running out of stamina, which is really useful. And then obviously you also get a motorcycle, which is kind of just self-explanatory. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about is the gacha system. Now, when I was going into the closed beta, I was, for the most part, pretty blind on what I was getting into. I had no idea it was a gacha, so I was kind of surprised with it, but it doesn't really bug me too much. So you're mainly summoning for weapons, from what I'm comprehending from it. You can also get characters, but there's also like a setting where like you can have the character equipped but then you can have it like they don't appear, so then your created character still appears as the character that you're using, if that makes any sense. From what I've heard, the gacha system is a lot more generous than the Genshin Impact gacha system. From what I've heard, I haven't really looked into the details of it yet, because I haven't been able to wish too much in the beta yet. Don't really know if you're supposed to wish too much or a lot, because it is just a beta. But yeah, there is a gacha system for anyone that didn't know, but honestly, in my opinion, it's not game-breaking or anything. So yeah, my first thoughts, I think this game has a lot of potential. I've noticed the more I'm playing it, the more I'm itching to play it, and the more I'm just learn more about the game. Story, I don't really want to talk too much about it because I don't want to give out spoilers or anything. But the English voice acting is not complete, so like some of the characters just don't even talk. Like they're just you get their lines, so you know what they're saying, but like there is no like voiceover, so it's just kind of like awkward because like your character will say something, and then like the other character, like it'll just have text and you don't hear anything. All I will say about the story though is that it is actually pretty interesting. So that is pretty good. The story was not really like one of my biggest interests when I was getting in this game, but actually it is a bonus that the story is pretty interesting. So my overall first thought is it's got a lot of potential. I can't wait to keep playing it more. I will be trying to upload it daily this week. It's really fun. And I can't wait to keep playing it some more. So yeah, if you guys liked this video, please leave a like. It helps out the channel a ton. And if you guys want to see more Tower of Fantasy content, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.